So,
I see people coming up.
yep. So I guess let's start it up. And welcome to our bi-weekly Fireside. Today's theme is first generation apps for human nodes. Dato, what do we have loaded here?
Well, as you see, the tech that we're building here is evolving, and well, there isn't any other tech. It's evolving in stages. So we're going to be talking about the generation of applications or dApps, so to say, that we and I hope um, active members of the development community will come up with for the humanodes here. And we're calling them first generation apps because the how can I say this? They will be oriented um, mm, at humanodes. And in our first iteration, in the first version of Humanode, this application use is inseparable with validation. So that's why we call them first generation apps or dApps.
So, what
Yeah,
kind
I
of
think
application?
I think we won't go other companies do that and call them apps. We will just stay with the depths, right?
Have say.
Yeah, like Humanode apps.
Oh, okay. So let's starting by understanding context here. So I hope that our listeners here know the difference between the initial version of Humanode and that the one that we're planning to deliver, in the years to come. And in our first iteration, there are two main things that really kind of separate um, the dApps that we're going to have in Humanode from the ones that we're going to develop in the future. The first principle being liveness detection and being inseparable from being a validator. I'm only talking about private decentralized biometric identity and not some other use cases that we provide for our partners and other networks. So what kind of depths can a validator running a human node have? And I mean explicitly those that he would require for running the node and those that he can just, download for his personal use or um, some other things. Shannon, what themes can you think of here?
Hmm. I mean, would it would there be specific apps for, let's say, the Vortex or
Oh,
um
you strike, you just stroke a 10, Chen. Sure. And let's discuss it first. So, one of the first dApps for the users and, humanodes will be the Vortex app, which is a governing app based on the notion of DAO that we are trying to deliver. And it's going to be an application where people are able to authorize, they're able to push proposals, they're able to upvote or downvote proposals in the proposal pool, and of course, they're able to vote or vote for accepting or declining proposals in the vortex itself. So yes, this is one of the first steps imaginable after the release of our mainnet. Okay, what else can we come up with, guys?
well, I mean, if we're talking about Vortex and there's the let's say uh, specific apps for formation, such
Yep,
as
strike
team
a
building.
chord. Second strike, Shannon. In a good way, I mean, like in bowling. So yes, formation is something that we are creating to bolster the activities of devs on Humanode network, and a place where Humanode and Humanodes who are devs can um, composition their teams. Basically, they can either bring people from the side and incorporate them into their teams to fulfill proposals that were accepted, or they can form teams from humanoids that already exists. So yes, you're not asking me why is this a separate application from Vortex. Well, it has a whole different level of organization, and so much logic is just just too much for one application, right? So you might be voting, but not participating in formation. So that's why we're separating them. And well, formation is a place to organize your teams and bind your humanoid wallets to rewards that you're getting for the job that you do, and a lot of other work related stuff. So yes, there we got two of them. What else?
Yeah, let's ask Victor this one.
Well, we haven't discussed the most basic one, which will also have a lot of tooling around it, which is not decentralized on its own, but will be gathering data from the network. So the other thing I would say in that discuss, the second one is uh, the application with validators and how it will emerge from what we have right now.
Yeah, guys, you're like on a roll today. So Validator app. Victor, do you want to take this one, or you want me to describe it?
Well, you've been the master brain behind working on its new flow, and
All right.
yeah,
So,
that's what
of
people want to
course, the
hear.
Validator deployment and uh, dashboard is going to be incorporated into a single application that will be designed solely for um deploying your node, or I shall say nodes, because a lot of test nets will be running kind of simultaneously, and other networks deployed on human node can also be incorporated and deployed for that app. So it's going to be like a hub where you choose the network to deploy, you be authorized yourself, and there you go. Your node is running, and you can see all the information flowing from it, right in front of your eyes. This is the application that we're also going to deliver, and I think um, the most work before mainnet will go into it, in terms of parsing data, bringing it to the forefront, the front end, the flow. Everything is going to be for that. Okay. So now we have the Validator app. We have the Vortex DAO app, and we have a Formation app. What else can you think of?
Can you
Because
think
well,
of it as well?
I know the list, and I'm just asking.
Hmm. Let's see. What else is there? Um, by any chance, would a wallet be separate, or is that part of the main
Yep,
app?
good one, Shannon. Yes, we're going to, of course, make a MetaMask integration. But because some people really like MetaMask, and well, we already have EVM compatibility with EVM addresses, but hopefully, someone from the ecosystem will take on the role, or bring up the team of people who are willing to create native wallet for Humanode. And well, it's not something that our team wishes to do, because we have a ton of other stuff to fulfill and do. But it's something that we will bolster and try to push in the community, so that there are some good devs behind it who make a proposal to make a native Humanode wallet, and hopefully it will be accepted by the DAO to receive funding from our from Vortex, and assemble a team information and have it built. But yes, wallets are an important necessity, because you have to receive those beautiful rewards for staying alive somewhere and keep them. Okay, now we also have a wallet. What else do we got?
What else do we need?
In terms of wallet, I would add that we would need to build the smart contract functionality for vesting contracts, so to say. It means that the wallet will be not just interacting with like send or receive, but with the smart contracts in our network as well. From the beginning, with the most simple ones like multi-sig and vesting contracts with claims.
Let's see. I am not sure if this is part of it, but any specific apps for marketplaces?
I think that you also now, Shannon, entered the field of experimentation of what can happen on our hackathon. So I wonder, Dado, do you have yourself anything else in mind that among those things that we're doing 100%, or we're going to go into that field of what can we do with the, Humanode validator status and special apps for Humanodes?
So the logic is pretty simple. As our validators are private, decentralized, pseudonymous, biometric entities, we can take this info and just create first generation accounts for them by utilizing our partnerships like Aiken. We can give the ability for humanodes to already establish accounts on various platforms using their accounts that will not be tied to any centralized database, not tied to any identity, and not tied to any honeypot problems with someone leaking your biometric identity. Although in the first generation, of course, this is going to be solely given to the validators participating in it because of the logic of the system that we have right now. But thankfully, we already have a plan on how to separate those two, so that we are able to deliver the privacy and decentralization of identities without the necessity of becoming the validator. So this is like, so to say, multi-app approach for identification. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking of.
Are there any other first-gen apps that the Humanode core will be developing in the short term?
I suppose that's enough for the Humanode core in the short term, Shannon, because there are many other things that we can consider as ecosystem projects for Humanodes to organize together and do some stuff. Apart from that, but we're looking into, May right now, okay, when we start our hackathon. And actually, well, for the hackathon, people will be already able to build on it. I mean, the first generation apps, which are based on Humanodes only. I expect a wave of easy apps for communication of humanoids, for their ownership of something together. It could be anything, assets or NFTs. I could think of some, voting protocol which is easy to use and is not Vortex itself, but something else to vote on as a community. Well, we can continue the list if you want.
Sure, let's go ahead. Let's plant some ideas here.
Dara, was there anything you were expecting people to build?
The next one, guys, actually, is of course, giving the guys from the community to actually come up with any ideas or applications that they can come up with and utilize our validators to test them out, you see. And actually, you can talk about financial applications. You can talk about NFTs. You can talk about various services that require Sybil resistance, but you can only scale them to the amount of validators that run in the network, right? You cannot explicitly stretch it out before we separate the private decentralized identity from the validator requirements. That's what I wanted to say, because you can already start building and you can already start testing out the Sybil resistance, right? And you can do it on the scale of up to 1,000 people. Now the question is, what what applications would you like to see scaled for the first validators in the network? And I mean, what can those validators uh, find necessary for them? Well, I had this application in mind. So, as you very well know, if you become a human node, your literal existence becomes the security of the network, because you're just a walking, talking key, right? If somebody physically is able to, well, hijack you and scan your face, that opens up a big vulnerability for the human node, because a person is able to kind of authorize himself as you, not just as you, but using you. And well, you have to really safeguard your life because the network depends on it. And so, because of that, there should be an emergency application for humanoid validators. If something is happening to you, you can send emergency. You can send an emergency so that other human nodes and local emergency services can know that something is happening to you and that you are an important person.
Yeah, that's definitely a thought. But would that be? Well, I guess the scale of 1,000 might be a little small, but as it grows, it can be a very powerful app.
Then another thing, Shannon,
Mhm.
is the Validator Texting App. You see, it's an application where you can text each other, but you're definitely sure that this is not some scam writing to you that he's your grandson stuck somewhere and he needs money. You're definitely sure that this session was bio authorized and that it's the same person writing to you from the other side of the screen.
That's yes, definitely. I mean, I actually would like to see a full uh, social network platform based on Humanode too, or at
Oh,
least
there you
based.
go, Shannon. Be quiet. Mark Zuckerberg can hear you.
Yeah.
So yes, of course, you can talk about a social network platform that is based, well, dedicated at the very beginning only for humanoids, but then again, it's a platform where you're sure that behind this profile, it's not some bot or anything. You're able to be sure that it's a real human being, and well, that's a lot of like Facebook has 1.5 billion members, and how many of those are bots? Well, we we can't really say, right?
So just let me see if anybody is brave enough to raise their hands if they have any ideas or questions or thoughts. Anybody in our user pool here today? Any thoughts? Johnny, I
Hello.
see you.
Hi.
Oh, hi, Andre. Yeah, go ahead.
I was thinking, hello. First of all, I was thinking a dating app should be cool, no? Like, yeah, like a Facebook or a dating app like Tinder or something.
Yeah, the dating app only for humanoids, so that they would make more humanoids, right, Andre?
Yeah. I mean, there is a lot of yeah, fakes people behind. No, do you see the Netflix documental with the guy that was using with sorry, I have
Yes.
internet problems. Okay,
Oh, we could hear
one
you
moment.
until the end.
Ah,
So,
okay.
yeah, surely that's the idea that we had on scale, but in terms of human relations, that also interesting. You could make the dating not in terms of dating men and women and stuff, but dating some other humanoids like good people and getting acquainted with each other, and revealing their identity once they're sure to other humanoid, maybe to help community know each other better.
Yeah, yeah. Human has lots of uses.
Yeah, I was also thinking of something Johnny said long ago about the humanoid trading with each other, about the fact that when you do it OTC trade, OTC deal, sometimes you even don't know the people you're dealing with. You just know their good history of dealing with crypto. And also, escrow contracts is something so that, two humanoids having a deal between each other, they can shoot another humanoid as an escrow because they it's already like trusted public humanoid figure.
Yeah.
Actually, escrows between humanoids. Yeah, Shen, sorry.
No, go ahead.
I mean, escrows between real human beings is also a very big thing, as with uh, already interoperability between human and EVM, you can stand out as an escrow agent uh, between various transactions, not only on Humanode network. Yeah, you'll be able to verify the proof of this person being him through Humanode, and that's it. You can run an escrow for any parties on any other networks if you're if you are a Humanode yourself.
Yeah, but it can be used by regular users who didn't gonna have biometric check. That's right.
Well, yes. Once again, right, for those who came a bit late, we're separating the notion of private decentralized biometric identities from uh, just biometric identities. Of course, you can do escrows with just biometric authorization, but we're speaking about the principles handled by the validators because they have to be Sybil resistant, decentralized, and private. And well, it's inseparable from the validation right now, as in the first iteration of Humanode.
And Dato, I was going to bring up another app that we have talked about quite a bit, which was file sharing amongst trusted members, as in giving access to specific, let's say, family members or a group of 5 to 10 people where you're able to share these files. They could be contracts, they could be, I don't know, whatever important file amongst just that group of people.
Yeah, Jen, you're referring to trusted networks. So it's like storage of data, but in the cloud. But that cloud is composed of servers bound to biometric identities. So it's like your, but this is not first generation. This is like, I don't know, fifth generation, Jen, because well, it requires a very good integration of storage, like IPFS, for example. So,
go ahead, Dato.
yes, but from the various applications that we have talked about today already, right? Um, mm, our approach is that we are going to uh, hold this hackathon and rather organize things around in Vortex and proportion pool, so that we find people willing to take, uh, not just the risks, but to take the problems into their hands and help us out to create various applications funded by the community itself. Because we as Humanode are mostly concentrated around building the protocol itself and building bioauthorization schemes and delivering proper privacy and like a lot of backend, so to say, operations. And in reality, we as a team are concentrating on delivering the Validator app, the Vortex, but Vortex hard part is all in backend, right? So basically delivering formation and delivering the wallet either through Metamask integration or the native one. Everything else will be pushing people and promoting people from the community and those who are interested to participate in the actions of the ecosystem to try and build those applications from bottom to top, not the other way around. Yeah. Now, what is basically the first step from the first generation applications to the second generation applications? It's this notion that we're going to separate it from the requirement of being a validator, and the second one is connected to the basically the private key. Victor, do you want to talk about it, or you want me to continue?
Oh, sure, I can pick that up. So you're referring to the fact that right now our users, the thing that they sometimes struggle with, those who want to become humanoids, they have to have their seed phrase, right? Which is really not necessarily if we take it to the next level.
Yes.
Yep. And well, the thing is that probably people who are here with us for long term, like from the year before, have seen our how we envisioned the first like how we built the first demo. Thing is that it's not really necessary. It will include another infrastructure security step, but still, people pretty much can be able to launch human nodes and get their validator key without even knowing their validator key, so that uh, they could just use their face scan, prove their liveness. We know it's secured. That even if the person somehow tries to go and so to say steal your human node, he won't be able to, because you are not present at the moment of the face scan when the perpetrator does that. Well, basically, that means that you can secure your validator key by biometrics. We have another step in the ease of becoming a human. And there was even a proposition. I don't know how secure what people consider this, to have a small web service where you could hide the private key of anything or every secret that you have behind your biometrics. Yeah. Which, I mean, this is something that we thought about as well. Yeah, I'm changing the theme already.
Yeah. Let me just say that actually this problem comes from the everlasting battle between the UX UI or the centralized markets and decentralized markets, right? So um, when you're opening up a wallet or an account on uh, decentralized services, you're always kept, you have a problem with this key that you have to store somewhere. Either you're storing it on a cold device, or you're just writing it down, or if you're well, if you're less smart than that, you're just copy pasting it to somewhere on your computer. But there's always this key that you're dealing with. So if we're able to bind your biometrics to this key and then um, hide this key from the user, the um, user experience itself and the user interface that we're allowed to give the users that utilizing apps based on Humanode identification can be, well, as seamless as centralized applications. And that's what we're really trying to achieve in this regard, so that the applications, decentralized applications of the future, would have a very, easy, liquid flow for the end user that is able to compete with the one of the centralized services. But the question is, does it really make it more secure or less secure if we don't hand out the keys to the user?
I see Mosgi is here. Mosgi, do you want to comment on that?
No, I think
No, I think
he just joined.
just
And
joined. Okay. So, we are at the 40-minute mark. Do we have any questions or thoughts that you'd like to ask? For example, Silas, would you like to comment on anything?
Oh, at this moment, they could say that you pay me for that, you know. But at this, I'm just struggling with thoughts. What would I like to have as a DApp of the first time I was Thinking about also what an idea for the hackathon could be for me and my friends, as I really have a bit of devs around who wanted to join, and we were struggling with the situation. What do you think about that? So for me, this call was just like an inspiration of thinking what could be used from your thoughts to reuse on the hackathon. So something like that.
Sure, yes. Actually, Dato, would you like to talk a little bit about just a brief intro into the hackathon and what we are planning?
Actually, it's a separate theme for discussion because we're still trying to understand what themes do we want to see there. And well, there's so many interesting approaches and fields that can be well hacked, and um, actually, building first generation apps is something that we have been also considering for it. But yes, Jen, announcement is still not here, so we shouldn't be spreading this information just yet.
Oh, come on, just a little bit.
Yes, so we're planning to basically cement the themes for the hackathon um, this week or the beginning of the next. But yes, we also considered wallets, various solutions for um, the internal infrastructure, or separating the biometrics from decentralized notion. It's like a lot of things that can be considered for it.
And Dada was absolutely right while saying that the Humanoid biometric authorization is like a playground for anything that can build with the notion of cyber resistance on top. And people on our hackathon, I think, will be able to use the data from our blockchain with the humanoids we already have and build on testnet v3 EVM compatible applications, as we are testing our EVM for the last 1 or 2 months, putting pretty complex smart contract steps on top of it, like Aragon, like Metamask is working since the day one we tested it. So people could really play with just taking the data, whether a person humanoid or not, or authenticated at the moment or not, and apply cyber resistance principles to creating new games inside those regular applications that we have in our market, including airdrop activities, for example.
Cool. So, Dato, do you want to go back to talking about the second step?
Yes, Jen. So basically, the second generation, right? The steps are as follows. We separate the private decentralized identity from the validation requirement. And second, we try and, you know, hide the private key away from the users so that they're able to utilize their applications and, even sign things on chain only using their biometrics, right? So now you don't need a very big imagination to try and imagine what's going to be uh, able to develop on such a instrument. Basically, limitless possibilities for services that need the notion of civil resistance. Not all services require them, but of course, many of them do. And the use cases vary from financial ones to gaming and etc. And I think that in our blog there's a lot of different articles describing various use cases for which civil resistant accounts can be utilized. But I think that when the scaling issue of private decentralized identities is solved in terms of separation, we will see like a growth of gaming communities which are Sybil resistant, and those kind of applications will, take its lead. And of course, there's a huge demand from various developing decentralized finance applications, um, which need some kind of credit networks, accountability issues, and responsibility issues. Like, you can talk about this, well, as long as you breathe, because there's so many applications for this. And of course, privacy is important, but some people and some companies don't really care about it. So we also tend to think that it can be also adjustable for the needs of the service that is trying to utilize this tech.
Okay, let's see. I see Edward here. Edward, are you available? Or not? Okay.
Yes, I am.
Oh, okay. Since you had been working on various use cases, I was wondering if there are some apps that you would like to see, or that you would imagine would be emerging in the second generation.
I think wallets will be the one that will be commonly used, since every token holder has to have a wallet to manage, and then many people just use their wallet to interface with the apps. Yeah, so that's the one that come to mind.
Do you have any specific ideas on what functionalities would be required or would be cool to have?
Well, one is that, Sharon, we've described in the white paper, right? So it's a thing about biometrics that, if you guys remember, can be multimodal, right? And you can actually think of uh, limiting the transactional by the modalities that are scanned, so that the security of your funds is not at stake all the time. Meaning that to send maximum $1,000, you're using like your fingertips. If it's something more serious, you're using face. If it's even more serious, you're using your iris, and etc. It's like, in my ideal world, you can use any part of your body as a modality, right? And if there's something real serious, real like life and death serious, then you can use your neurosignature to sign those transactions. It's like multi-level security built on top of the notion of using different biometric modalities for it. But this is just for sending and receiving money.
Very, very good concept. I'm wondering how long it will take for us to get there. I guess we have to keep adding the modalities. So
Yeah, before adding the modalities, actually, users can just set up a recovery account mentioning another Humanode, so that if something happens to this Humanode, he is, of course, not voting power. but just his funds collected from verifying transactions would go to another Humanode. This is what can be done immediately.
Yeah, I have a question on that idea to like a backup account on the second Humanode. How do we, what do we, I don't know, accept as a proof that something happened to the first Humanode? Like,
I think it should be just set as time the person didn't verify himself
okay, so
back
like,
in the network. And this
like a
is
month, 2, 3, something like that. Yeah.
yeah, something like that should be set up with the user himself, in my opinion. And for
Oh,
example, even if he haven't been there for a year and there's still something left in his wallet, he just disappeared, couldn't verify himself as a Humanode. Well, it still can happen even in a year. Yeah, I think it should be something
so
not set.
so it's like basically like with the Google account when you set up time that you are not logged in and like delete the account or something like that in a year, 1, 2, or something like that.
Yep, exactly.
Okay, I got the idea. Thanks.
So we're down to the very end of this Fireside, and the floor is open to any questions. So don't hesitate to raise your hand and ask. And if not,
Hey,
Dato, do you? Oh, hey there.
I have a question about that wallet thing.
Go ahead.
Yeah, for a while the app mobile phones have like fingerprinting with the iOS and Android because for their implementations with like Google have something and Apple have ID something, and they generate some kind of a token or some. They don't share the actual data, but they have some kind of security token there, which authorize it. Is it possible, like when you create a wallet, maybe you can also put that data towards the chain so it can be some kind of a backup for the actual human node biometrics?
Yeah, so you're saying the difference in approaches. It's exactly the thing that we want to tackle. When you use your phone right now with built-in biometrics like Apple ID, you well, your biometrics don't go into any database, not public nor private. It is just saved in your phone, and you use it only if you have access to your phone. That's something like when you lose your phone, you can't buy another one and access the same account with a new phone with the same biometrics. No, you can't do that. And well, this is what differs our solution from this current solution that everybody uses. You can access Humanode account from anywhere you want to, and the device doesn't matter.
Yeah, I mean, in a sense, utilizing that tools to push some data towards the human node chain so it can be used in the future for a backup or something.
Yep, that's actually how we built it. So not like it is in Apple ID or Google ID.
So yeah, data can be also private in that sense. Can be pushed privately.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah, that's right. Okay. Thanks for the answers.
Thank you, Emre.
Okay, Dato. I'm quite sure we have much more to discuss here, but do we have anything that we haven't talked about yet?
Well, it's not just called first generation, Shen, for no reason. Not many things can be delivered upon it. But well, as my closing statement today, I would like to say that even though it's a first generation, wave of applications, and although they're only, well, most of them will be only scalable to the validators running in the Humanode, but I assure you that's not going to be for a long time. We'll be, pushing into separation as fast as possible, and well, um, the people already interacting with us and already interacting with those applications will be able to taste Sybil resistance, will be able to grasp and understand how it can bolster their services. Um, and I mean, we'll be rolling out ways to build upon Humanode for various applications. And people will be able to develop test applications that Humanode's validators will be going to and will be using, and that's Sybil resistant application data layer will be already gathering information for future development.
Thank you. Victor, do you have any closing remarks?
I'm looking forward to seeing the first generation apps for humanoids, probably for their coordination apart from the official releases of the core team, which we didn't think of. That would be kind of cool.
Okay, then. Looks like we have 2 more minutes, but let's wrap it up. And thank you once again for joining us for Humanode Fireside. And hope to see you again in 2 weeks' time. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Have a nice day. Bye.
Bye bye.
Thank you
Nice
very
rest of
much.
the day.
Cheers, everyone.